Hi guys, welcome back to Progress is Everything. On today's video, we're talking about investing in startups, another way to beat inflation. At the time of filming, inflation is rising, 7% at the moment in the UK. But anyway, investing in startups, if you do it well, can work in pretty much any market. And in this episode, episode 2, we're going to review an investment pitch. This is when a startup puts all the relevant information, or the information that they think is relevant, into a pitch to angel investors like you and me, or people that are potentially interested in supporting startups in the crowd. And you get to see and understand what their business is about, how well they've been doing in the past, etc., etc. And in this video, we're going to talk about and analyze one of these that has come to the market in the recent days. So without further ado, let's share my screen. And forgive me, I'm live streaming. Well, there you go. That's an error right there. Forgive me if there's any technical errors. Here we go. So this is one of the platforms, Crowdcube, and this is the one I want to look at. By the way, these are raising, and these two I've already invested in, Artfinder and Regimat. But today we're looking at Train Effective. Let's have a look. All right, so they've been on the platform for 5 days. This platform allows you 30 days to invest. Target of 300,000. They've got some information here that's in the pitch. And they've always got a video and they've got a blurb about the founders, yada, yada. And we're going to be looking at the pitch deck in a moment. That's the main thing I want to focus on for this video. Okie dokie, so we download it and I'll open this up. So Train Effective is bringing the professional football academy experience online. The reason why I want to focus on this pitch deck is because it should tell you everything that you need to know, more or less, in the actual pitch deck. Should allow you to find out about business, make a decision. Is this worthy of my time? Do I want to follow this company? Do I want to follow up with this company by asking questions to the owners, the team, other investors, etc.? And would you want to invest in it? I can't make that decision for you, but maybe the pitch can. Now, they're utilizing some celebrities here. Rio Ferdinand is famous in the football world, played for England, etc. So the purpose of this is to allow people to train, deliver world-class sports academy in your pocket, making mobile learning, effective, and basically broadening it for everybody. They're saying there's 300 million players worldwide, but elite coaching is reserved for a tiny percentage of those in academies. So they want to open it up. And they're saying that academies are normally attached to clubs. They're expensive. They're very limited places. So they have a product which looks like includes drills. What else does it include? Practical tactical analysis, mental coaching, and there's a community and leaderboards. And it looks to me, let's see if we can zoom in at all here. 1 second. So you can click on the different things within football, dribbling, passing, etc. And there's some progress tracking, and there's other videos and courses. It looks pretty good, to be honest. They've got 6,000 reviews, which is good. Obviously, 5-star reviews is always good. They've got 80,000 members, 350,000 registered members, 1 million activities scheduled. I guess that's a combination of people that are registered, plus maybe some of the things they're planning or something, or maybe things they've signed up for. The main thing is the MAUs, or monthly active users, is a good metric for apps. And then registered users. So you can see, what's that? It's probably about 25%. Something like that. 20%, 25% of the people that are registered are using it kind of monthly. They've been in some magazines. 442's famous in the football world. Sports Bible, I guess, is as well. Forbes is a business magazine. Give Me Sports is sport as well. Trusted Reviews, I guess, is a reviews app. So £300 per paid. So £300 is lifetime value of a customer at the moment. So I guess that's a division of their customers divided by people that actually give them any money. And they're saying they make money from subscription, even though it's freemium. So there's probably some way of generating money. Merch. Camps, I guess, would be their most effective way of making money. And then they're talking about B2B white labeling. I don't know how many of these are actually making money from at the moment. They haven't broken that down here. They talked about the total market. Obviously, there's a lot of fans. There's a lot of players. 12 million officially registered 15 to 19-year-old players in affluent English-speaking territories. So that's their current market that they're going after. I assume they'll want to go for that's at the moment, but every 5 years, a 15-year-old goes to be 20, a 10-year-old becomes 15, etc., etc. So it's kind of 12 million users every 5 years. And if it's growing, it could be even bigger than that. Now, the comparison with a competitor, Freeletics, 36 million users, as opposed to, 500,000, sorry. No, 350,000 for them. This what their competitor has, 36 million. Has $100 per paid user and has a valuation of 55 million in 2018 and then 120 million in 2020. So that's interesting. These are the competitors. Now, if you're really going to invest in this, you'd probably want to dive into this. Techni Football, that sounds like it could be Portuguese or Brazilian. Box to box, coach aimed apps. I think they've just lumped that together. There might be a few other coach apps. Street Pro, Perfect Play. Surprised they haven't actually got Freeletics in there. I suppose that maybe that's a fitness app rather than a football app. Be good to get more information here. There isn't that much, to be honest. Marketing strategy, they're relying heavily on Rio Ferdinand, this famous footballer. Grow the user base with Pursuit of Greatness campaign. So a campaign. So they're achieving 15% organic growth, which is really strong. Influence campaign, I think that's a good idea. They need money for that, obviously. Timeline as a kickoff, selection gala, showcase event, season 2 begins. It's a bit vague, to be honest. They've got a lot of followers on TikTok. I've seen their Instagram. It's pretty good, to be honest. They've got a team. UBS is a bank, so these guys are bankers. BlackRock is an investment fund, very famous asset manager, investment type stuff. Adidas, obviously, is football and sports brands. This guy's got an MBA. So they've got good people. This guy was semi-pro in 5 countries. Not quite sure. He played semi-pro in 5 countries. And obviously, Rio Ferdinand is their celebrity. They've got these people from Freeletics, which is interesting. That was mentioned earlier on in the deck. So that's interesting. So they've got a good team, it looks like. And they've got some good people with their creators. England analyst, head of sports science at Southampton, Rio Ferdinand, Stoke City analyst. They've got their plan that they're going for a Series A, hopefully in 2023. They want to launch in various countries. Don't need translations for the US, but they want to localize in the US. I think in the US, that's interesting. Massive market in the US, and like the soccer, is it MLB? What's it called? MLB? I can't remember. There's a name for it in America. The US league is growing, like in popularity. So that's interesting. If you've got a pitch and you know about, like, I know a little bit about football, not a huge amount, but I know a little bit. And it always helps to know a little bit about the industry. So they've got their phases here. They're going to scale development. They're going to launch. They're going to look at European expansion, and they're going to access new sports. I'm not quite sure why they would need to do that, actually. I guess it's really interesting, but Doesn't really link to this. What phase is this? Well, I guess they're saying Q4. So what, in like a year, they're basically going to change sports. I'm not sure that's such a good idea. Like if the market is 12 million people in the 15 to 19-year-old category, and every 5 years it's replenishing another 12 million at least. Every 10 years you've got minimum 24 million people. That's just from the English-speaking markets. They're talking about launching in Germany and France. So presumably it'd probably reach 30 million every 10 years is their audience. And if they're going to also translate, I mean, to be honest, Spanish would be a lot better than Germany and France, because the global market in Latin America and Central America, they love football. Portuguese as well. It's massive in Brazil. So I'm not quite sure the reasoning for Germany and France. I know that there are good leagues in Germany and France. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But anyway, going back to this assessing new sports and segments, I think it's interesting. I think it might be a distraction. I think the global market for football is massive. I think South America, Central America, I wouldn't be surprised if it would be a good market. Having my experience in marketing, working for some big companies like WhatsApp and Facebook, we do some marketing and it does very well in Central America and LATAM. The Brazilian and Spanish markets. I don't know why they wouldn't look at that. They're looking at doing camps. They want to go in China. I mean, I think this deck looks a little bit like unfocused, I'll be honest. But anyway, they want to scale locations. Just because the deck is unfocused doesn't mean they won't do well, by the way. I think that's important to note. Like, if they've got a good concept, I think, who was it? Peter Lynch, famous fund manager, one of the best investors in the entire world ever, mentions a famous quote that says, you should find a great company. Sorry, yeah. You find a great product or company that can be run by monkeys, because if it's not run by monkeys now, it might be run by monkeys later on. I.e., you need to, I don't know if I've quoted that 100% correctly. It's pretty early on a Sunday and I haven't slept that well. But anyway, the point is that if you've got a great company, it doesn't really matter about how they're managing it. They seem to have a fair idea of what they want to do. I question the phasing of this. I know that they're desperate for funds, it looks like, but this doesn't seem that plausible. I think it'd be better, in my mind, to focus on launching this globally and focusing on camps and things like that to try and get, I imagine if they had 10,000 people doing their camps and they're charging, 2,000 or 3,000 per camp, they make 2 or 3 million from camps. That's better than looking at new sports. That'd just be my take on it. And it looks like they're trying to do it, in China. It doesn't mention that above. But anyway, scale existing locations and begin campus investments. So they want to build own campuses. I guess that's training. I guess that's to challenge the academy model. I think that's interesting. They haven't talked about that kind of, yeah. I suppose this is good to have that. Year 3, global decentralized campus model. I've not heard of this Evergrande Academy, but I guess it's famous in the sports world, maybe. So they want to do it in the UK, US, and China. I think that's a really good idea. I think I'm surprised, again, I'm going back to this territory and sports expansion. I would just remove that sports expansion, to be honest. I think maybe it would work. I don't know. But this is the thing that I'm really interested in. Can they scale the camps? Can they scale training? Because I imagine that the revenue comes from camps. But let's see if they've broken it down here. projected revenue. So users like less than 9 mil, revenue about 13 mil. Doesn't really equate to what they were talking about earlier with £300 per user. That'd be about 27 mil, not 13. But anyway, maybe the average revenue per user goes down over time. So 8 million users, let's say, if they're making 13, it's about 130, I guess, pounds per user, something like that, which is more than their competition or more than Freeletics, but it's still achievable. All right, so 2022, they want to reach 1 million people. That's about 3x where they are now. International expansion, I think that's Germany and France. Current conversion rate of 1%. Supported by growth of camps. This is what I'm quite interested in. I think that's interesting. Projected revenue, 4.5 million. Female, that's interesting. Grassroots, substantial revenue from camps. Merch, maybe they can build merch. Maybe, yeah, possibly. B2B income, I think that's interesting. You know, maybe if they can build a product that like sports clubs might be interested in. You know, maybe, I don't know, charge 5-10 grand a year, get to 500 clubs. You know, suddenly you've got a lot of income there. You know, that's 5 million a year. I don't know if they're looking at that. I imagine new sports. Now they talk about new sports in 2024. That's a really, yeah, it's different from what they were saying earlier in their own deck. But anyway, like, do I think this is realistic? You know, a lot of people will think, do I think, you know, a lot of investors will be asking themselves, is this realistic or not? I don't know, because they haven't said how much they charge per user. Let's go back a little bit, and they're saying a 1% conversion rate. So let's quickly go back to the income. Blah 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 blah. Where is it? Okay. Oh, shit, sorry about this. Maybe it was right at the start. Might have been right at the start. It's quite important because you want to know how realistic this is based on where they're currently at. Well, it doesn't say actually. It says £300 lifetime value, 500k in revenue, right? They've got 350,000 registered users. That's about 150, roughly 150 a user. 1% conversion rate. Let's think about this. Yeah, I mean, this is realistic, I suppose. Like, if they want to get to, you know, based on getting 9 million users, question is how they're going to get there. I think their marketing plan seems a little bit sketchy, but at the same time, it doesn't look like there's that much competition in this. And, you know, imagine they can get one great footballer per country. So Rio Ferdinand, maybe they can get the equivalent in France and Germany and blah, blah, blah. You know, it could work quite well. Expansion into female, I think that's interesting. I don't know how big globally that is at the moment. Grassroots segments, I would imagine, would be really big because, you know, that's where the volume is. I think I would imagine camp revenue would be quite big. So I do actually think this is realistic. Like, they're growing so much organically. You know, if they can raise, obviously, kind of all of this is dependent on how much money they can raise. So in 2022, I don't know how much they've raised. We can look at it in a moment. If they can raise maybe 500,000, they can probably get to 1 million users. Because I just imagine if they do the marketing well, I know marketing, it's what I've done for over 10 years. If they do it well, I think they could do it. They're already doing well on TikTok and Instagram. If they can do some paid marketing, some partnership marketing, they're already growing quite well. This campaign is probably going to add another 50,000 users, you know, this CrowdQ campaign, because you get a lot of press from that. If you do it well, you know, they should be getting tons of press from it. So they should get up to 400,000 users just off the back of that. And as they said, if they're going to launch into Germany and France, you know, there's nothing stopping them getting a couple of 100,000 in both those countries as well. So I do think it's realistic for them to get 1 million users. I think this is realistic. They could go for another raise, another funding raise, maybe raise 1 million next time. I think that's realistic. This is a bigger jump, but I do think if they can get into other countries and do the camp revenue, let's say they had, I don't know, 100 camps globally, and each camp, let's just do a quick analysis on this actually, because this is the kind of thing you kind of want to be doing anyway. Because for them to get the real meat on the bone is going to be in that 4th year. So if we look at it like, for them to get to 13 million revenue, like I think it's going to be the camps, right? So let's just use like a super simple forecast, right? So countries, and oopsies. I don't know. Let's say they're going to be in. Just do some forecasts here. I don't think they're going to be in more than 20 countries. It's very helpful. Let's say it's like 10. We'll just do a quick formula here, and then so this is the number of camps. And let's just say, actually, let's say there's going to be less camps per country, because I think that 10 might be a bit high. I think for France, Germany, and whatever. I mean, maybe it's not high in China, but just as an average. Let's say participants. Let's say 1,000, like per camp. So 1,000 times by the number of camps times by. Oh, oopsies. 1,000 participants. Attendees. Apologies, I'm a bit tired. Okay. Participants times the number of camps times the number of countries. Oh, no. It's right in front of me. How am I not seeing this? It's literally right there. Okay. And revenue per participant. See, it doesn't take that long to do this. I'm tired. If I wasn't filming this, I probably could have done it a lot quicker. So I think they're quite expensive, these camps. So let's just say they're £2,000. You can see the numbers are stacking here. I want to have. I would like to have something here. So that's 50 mil. Let's say the profit is 30%. I'm just going to, let's say 20% actually. Times that by 20. Why is that not working? Got something. There we go. Whoops. So this is where I thought this would happen. I think that the camps will do it for them. So this is quite a bullish forecast, because this is really on them executing 5 camps in 5 countries. We could easily do like if this is like a bullish forecast, we could do like a super bearish forecast. Let's assume they can't execute very well, and let's say it's one camp in each country. Still, worst case scenario, 2 million profit. That's a 20% margin. So let's go back to that forecast for a moment, and let's say base case scenario: 5 countries, 5 camps. 5 countries, 25 camps in total. 10 mil is the bullish profit, and the bearish is 2. So let's go back to this. We said between 2 and 10 million, and if they're making, if they can hit this, 2021, 2022, 2020, 2023 with their subscription revenue, let's say that's like 2 or 3 million, and they can add on that camp revenue between 2 and 10 million, it's going to be between 5 and 15 million. So having 13 million there, I think if they can execute on their camps, I think they can do it. And they're saying significant merchandise cross-selling and B2B income. We haven't forecasted that, so let's see. Interesting. Let's go back to the pitch. So they've raised 200k out of 100, out of a target of 300. The number of investors is 139. If you go down, you can see the largest investment. Largest is 150. So obviously, probably some parents or someone, maybe Rio Ferdinand themselves or himself or someone else has put in 150 out of this 218. So that leaves about 70,000 from 138 investors. So people are not putting in a lot of money. This suggests maybe it's people don't have a lot of faith, or maybe it's just football fans. People are putting in a grand or a lot less than a grand, maybe £300, £200. It's kind of normal for a small rounds, but certain industries have like more interest. Sports tech is really low. I invested in a sports tech brand that analyzes like it's kind of ball technology. So like for cricket and football, helping people train at the kind of ball level. This is kind of helping people train at the coaching level with tactics and things like that. And that didn't raise very much money at all. I think that only didn't raise a lot of money, but fintech raises a lot more money. Anyway, it's raised 218. It's got 25 days left. It's got a valuation of 15 mil. It's only made 500k of revenue. It doesn't say how much profit that's made. I think they're not making any money profit. So it's quite a hefty valuation at the moment, but there is a bit of forward valuation with startups. They have 350,000 members, even though they're saying they've got 380 here. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there, but let's say it's 350 to 400,000 players have registered. There's some valuation off the back of that. So based on the camp revenue, bullish, they can make 15 mil of profit potentially. That's really bullish. Maybe it's 3 million being not so bullish and being a bit bearish. 10x of 3 million would be a valuation of 30. If they can only get one camp and only make, I don't know, 200k, and they don't increase their subscription revenue by nothing, and they're only making 500,000-600,000 of revenue, then this valuation looks very, very, very high. But investing in startups is incredibly risky. I'm not a financial advisor, but you invest in startups because you're thinking that this company could get bigger. That other one that they talked about in the deck, has a valuation of 100 million or over 100 million. If they can execute well and get some camps, 25 camps around the world, and makes money from that, just that interest alone will probably drive other brands to advertise with them, partner with them. The merch sales will go up. So it's kind of a flywheel. I feel like if they're going to do well, they're going to do really well. And that's what I like to see actually with startups personally. Like I like to see some traction already, or a big idea, or both. They've got a big idea, they've got traction already, they've got some endorsement from Rio Ferdinand. That can go a long way actually, and they can use that forever basically. It's a bit shit that they're only giving away 1.96% of equity. Don't particularly like that. I have some concerns about the deck. There's some inconsistencies all over the place, 350, 380. The plans for the different years, but there's some good stuff. 4x turnover growth from 2021 to 2020. So that would mean that they were made 75k in 2021. They made 75k in 2020, 300k in 2021. If they can do the same again, then we're talking 1.2 million of revenue in 2022. Maybe this will help them get there. Another thing I look at is the kind of how much money they can raise, because back in the financial crisis there was a terminology, maybe it's not correct, it's not perfect for this discussion, but too big to fail, with banks that they couldn't fail because they had a lot of backing. And I think within the startup world, I like to think that kind of too big to fail in terms of they've raised too much money to fail. Like if these guys can raise $1 million, that's a lot of money to launch camps with. Camps don't cost, I wouldn't imagine, cost that much money. You need a pitch. I'm not sure if they're hosting them in accommodation or not. They need some trainers. I can't imagine it costs that much to launch a camp. Maybe I'm grossly underestimating. I don't know. But to launch software as a service like this in another country is marginal, especially when you don't need to translate. So they can launch into the US very, very in a very low cost way. The biggest cost is going to be marketing. So that does cost money. But looks like they've got pretty good organic growth. And they're doing very, very well on social media. So I really think this is quite interesting. I'm kind of convincing myself. I think that there is a chance that it doesn't do well, that they don't hit those goals. But I kind of feel like they will grow. I don't know if they'll grow kind of as aggressively as they've said in slide 14. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do think it will happen. I do think they'll grow. And I'm quite, I am not risk averse. I'm quite, I feel like I can take risks, and I quite like to back startups. Also, I like to back startups early on. I think it's frustrating that it has such a high valuation of 15 million at the moment. I think it's because they've got a lot of users. Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I hope that was helpful. It's one way to look at analyzing companies. If you like the way I've done this for this company, let me know if you'd like me to do it again. And if there's any companies you'd like me to review or help analyze. And if you've got any questions, queries, or comments on this or any others, then kind of let me know in the comment section below. And I'm going to be doing more of these videos. I'm going to have a think about whether I invest in that company, Train Effective, or not. I probably will put something in, possibly, not sure. We'll see. But I love to do this kind of analysis. I wanted to take you behind the scenes in terms of how I like to look at statements and analyze pitches, analyze startups, some of the criteria I use, and I hope that has helped. I know I get asked quite a lot about this kind of thing on Quora. You can find me on Quora. I think if you search Progress is Everything on Quora, it'll probably come up. Otherwise, you can ask me, of course, you can ask me questions. Wow, my glasses have got a bit fucked here. You can ask me questions on Quora or on YouTube. Remember that knowledge is power, and progress is everything. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.